Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Todd Famous, and this is my first time at Connection, so excited to be here and to represent the Cisco Contact Center team. I've met a few of you in the room, so it's good to see a few familiar faces, but I'm new to the BroadSoft community, but I've been with Cisco now for almost 20 years running the contact center product line. And so, looking forward to updating you on where we are with the Customer Journey Platform. So those of you who don't know, we actually, when we completed the acquisition, we actually moved the CC-One product, the contact center product from BroadSoft, into our business unit, which is called the Customer Journey Business Unit. And it's now part of our Cisco Contact Center portfolio, which, as I said, I'm responsible for that portfolio. So I'm going to give you an update on where we are with CJP, and then also give you some context of how that product fits into the portfolio. So what we have prepared today is that mapping into the portfolio, product priorities. So my team is responsible for the roadmap and direction of the Cisco Contact Center products. So I'm going to give you some thoughts on what are our priorities for investment. I'm also going to update you on some new capabilities that we've rolled out this year and what's coming, and then leave you with some thoughts on how to differentiate the Cisco Contact Center portfolio versus other competitors in the call center market. So I'm going to start with the Cisco collaboration. So this is the whole collaboration portfolio for Cisco: calling, meetings, Teams, and Care, which is our contact center products. And as I said, everything today I'm going to focus in that care category in contact center. Our call center, if you're not familiar, our call center portfolio mirrors the unified communications portfolio. We have a service provider offer called HCS as well for contact center, and then we have our Cisco Cloud option, which is customer journey portfolio, and then we have a set of prem applications as well. So let's drill into contact center. So what is the market opportunity? So this is a market I've been in now for more than 25 years, and there's never been a better time to be in the contact center market. We are at the beginning of a huge transition. So the market today is about 85% premises-based. So, and we, as well as I think most in the industry, see that market transitioning to cloud. So we are at the beginning of a journey where I believe almost all of the call center market will transition from prem to cloud. Today, the cloud contact center market's growing at over 25% per year. So it's one of the fastest growing segments in all of enterprise IT. And if it sustains that rate, just sustains that rate of growth, it will grow at that rate for the next 10 years before we transition to basically a 90% prem market. So a huge sort of runway and opportunity over the next 10 years as we transition to cloud. Now that's causing a lot of excitement and enthusiasm around this market, and it's causing new entrants into the market. So you're seeing new vendors get into the call center space, which is also a refreshing and good thing for those of us who are passionate about this business, because that competition and that change is going to drive a lot of activity. So Cisco is the clear #1 market share leader in Americas, and actually in the quarter we just finished, the calendar Q3, we haven't seen results for that yet, but possibly we might be the global market leader in contact center passing Avaya this quarter, based on some great results as we closed out the last quarter of Cisco's fiscal year. We have over 30,000 customers, over 3 million agents. To give you a sense of the size of our customer base, that's about 10 times the size of our next largest competitor from the pure cloud contact center market. So it's a big vendor, yes?
What is the breakdown between premises CPE agents versus cloud?
For Cisco?
Yeah.
It's almost all prem today.
Okay.
So it's probably 90% prem, 10% cloud, I'd say, something like that. The market overall is about 85% prem. I'd say we're about 90% prem today. So, and I'm going to talk about our strategy for, and I sort of say this in earnest, the most significant competitive differentiator we have in our cloud contact center space will be our prem base. We're going to connect and leverage that base as we transition. And I'll talk about how that shapes up from a product strategy. But our footprint is large. I guess that's the main message. And we also have a well-developed channel and I would say business process for dealing with the contact center market, which, I'm going to assume that many of you or some of you are not day-to-day in the contact center market. And often I say that the contact center market is a fairly closed community of specialists. You may appreciate that. Cisco is good at contact center. I want to relay that message. We also, as we transition to cloud, there's some strong assets that we bring to the table as a company. We can do end-to-end. We can do top to bottom. We can do hardware. We can do networking. We can do software. We can do UC, and we can do contact center. We also come to the table, and I've been with Cisco a long time, and I still remember my early experiences at Cisco where when we enter the room with our customers, we have respect before we get in the room. And that's sort of the power that you have from the Cisco brand and the relationship that Cisco has with IT. And that isn't the case for most of our cloud contact center competitors. So that is an opportunity for you to think about how you can use that Cisco brand to help you win in the contact center space. Okay, and you heard some of these terms earlier, cloud first, not cloud only. You're going to see that in our product strategy. Okay, so I'm going to drill into the contact center portfolio, which we're calling the Customer Journey Solutions portfolio. That's inclusive of all of our platforms. Our major platforms are Contact Center Express. That's our mid-market premises-based contact center solution. We have 25,000 customers, over 1 million call center agents. Contact Center Enterprise, which is our flagship on-prem contact center solution used by some of the largest contact centers in the world. HCS for contact center, which is, it's essentially the same technology as Contact Center Enterprise, but it's operated in the cloud by service providers. And then our newest platform, which is, it's the combination of CC-One, which some of you are familiar with some of the cloud services that we had been developing in-house in Cisco, and we're calling that the Customer Journey Platform. And that will be our Cisco cloud offer for contact center. Those solutions will share, going forward, a set of common cloud services and cloud capabilities. A few of them mentioned here: context, AI, messaging, and analytics. And I'll talk in more detail about these going forward. And we will provide all these charts, by the way. So we're going to connect the premises-based solutions to our cloud services. So we will be cloud first in our development strategy going forward, but we will offer those cloud services in combination with our premises products as well, and sort of carry those customers forward into the cloud. And I'll talk more about that. So actually, I'm showing you here a couple, I'm sure you know what these are, a couple of magic quadrants. This is actually the contact center infrastructure magic quadrant. Cisco has been for a while a leader in that quadrant. We are a leader in execution, and we're proud of that. We've been able to achieve global scale and operational excellence in delivering contact centers. And of course, BroadSoft entered recently, and actually it's a fairly recent Magic Quadrant from Gartner, the Contact Center as a Service Magic Quadrant, as a visionary. So, what we see here is a great combination of execution excellence from Cisco and some visionary cloud technology from BroadSoft, and that combination is going to be our Customer Journey Platform. All right, so let's talk a little bit about our strategy and what's happening in sort of the product requirements and what we see going forward with contact center products. So we've moved to the point where call center products go beyond voice. So we use the term often contact center. They're not just voice platforms. They're, the industry phrase would be omni-channel platforms. They support voice, but they must also support digital media like email and chat, social media, and then there's a proliferation of future channels, which I'll give a little bit towards the end about what we're seeing happening there. But the point is that the way customers interact with businesses is not stable. It's actually expanding. Actually, the rate of expansion is, I would say, accelerating the way that customers interact with businesses. And contact center platforms need to tie them all together, all of those channels together. That's the basics of what a contact center is. Now, one thing that's always been the case is that as customers or contact centers are handling these channels, they produce a tremendous amount of data. Now, traditionally, the data produced out of the contact center are used for operational rigor. And if you have touched the call center industry, you may have heard terms like service level, average speed of answer, average handle time. There's lots of metrics and statistics and data produced by a contact center system. And lots of, I would say, operational business process that's derivative of those metrics. So one of the more important features of a contact center platform is the reporting tool that shows you what's going on, shows the supervisors and the contact center managers so that they can take actions to improve the efficiency of the contact center. However, for the most part, most contact centers operate in what we would call a reactive mode. They're there, and they're very efficient when they get work, but they're basically just there waiting for work. What we believe is that with what's happening in data science and artificial intelligence, the opportunity will be in front of our customers to take that data and use it in a new way. One is to provide more context, and so we've implemented some offers here already, but basically, I'm sure you're all familiar with the traditional call center experience where you call the call center, and the first thing that the business says to you is, "Who are you?" The second thing they'll say to you is, "Why are you calling?" And it's sort of my catchphrase, "Who are you and why are you calling?" And you could be doing business with like American Express, for example, and I have my card, it says, "I've been a customer since 1999. If I call them, they say, "Who are you?" You know, I've been doing business with them for 20 years. They still don't know who I am. And then they ask me why I'm calling. So with contextual data, we believe that we can, first of all, improve the accuracy of predicting identity so that when customer calls, we can identify them, speeding things up, and also possibly predict why they're calling. We can also then start to take actions like make suggestions for how the call is treated or the contact is treated, and suggestions for the agent as to how they handle a call, and then even going on top of that, making predictions around whether a customer is likely to purchase or a customer is likely to defect or churn. All of that is powered by data. So basically harnessing data and new computing and AI techniques to improve and transition contact centers from reactive to contextual, suggestive, and to predictive. So this is kind of a sort of a thought process in how we're going about building our next generation contact center platforms, managing what we call the customer journey. Another way to describe it is that traditional call centers are very transactional, and in the future they're more experience-oriented, and they're looking at the whole customer journey and making predictions to map and manage and shape a customer journey. Okay, so some market trends, and I've touched on a couple of these, but basically the market is going cloud. That started at, I would say, the smaller segment of the market, but it's moving up really quickly, actually. We're seeing larger and larger customers who are expressing interest or actually putting in cloud contact center systems. Transitioning from transactions to journeys, so more acknowledgement of relationship-based businesses. I think if you think about just commerce in general, more and more of the things that you spend money on, you have a long-term relationship with also, or a subscription-based relationship. And so businesses are moving away from measuring your value as a customer based on one interaction and looking at whole journeys. So that changes the operational metrics focus of a contact center. AI and automation, I'll talk about what we're doing there. They're a huge opportunity to improve how contact centers perform. Some of the challenges are global reach, particularly when you get into telecom and ingress and egress of services and regulatory compliance. So this is where something, obviously, where all of you can help from the service provider community, getting cloud contact center available globally. Data sovereignty, another challenge that is presented based on the global cloud contact center. Security. We have customers, I have a customer tell me recently that it was 8 months to go through a security approval process for a cloud application. So it's happening. All of our customers are going cloud, but many of them have, I would say, difficult processes to get things approved to go cloud. And that's something that we all want to help them with to accelerate because it's in our interest. And then, as much hype we're seeing about AI, we're also seeing, sometimes customers are doing AI because they want to do AI. They're not actually sure what the outcome is. So that's an area where we're going to try to be more focused on the outcomes associated with AI implementations. Okay, Customer Journey Platform. So it's an omni-channel contact center solution. So it's voice, digital. It offers a very unique analytics infrastructure inside of the contact center system, and that can be used for not just reporting, but also impacting routing. So we have customers that are using data that's been compiled or accessed to customer relationship management systems to change the way calls are routed. So getting into that beginning of what I described there in terms of doing predictive routing for improving how calls get handled. Customer Journey Platform offers out-of-the-box integration with UC-One, and we will be integrating with other parts of the UC portfolio. I'll show you some details on that in a moment. But the idea that our contact center is integrated to our collaboration stack is important. It's also different. It's different from our major cloud contact center vendors who are often specialists in the call center category. We offer integrations with the major CRM systems, Salesforce, Zendesk, Dynamics, and then custom capabilities are available for integration to off-the-shelf or homegrown customer relationship management systems. Call centers, unlike unified communication systems, they almost always go in integrated, meaning you don't just put them in, you have to connect them to some other applications. So it's important that CRM integrations be part of the discussion in contact center opportunities. And we have small customers and very large customers on Customer Journey Platform. So it scales, and we are going to be expanding the scope and scale of the platform going forward. Okay, so these are the things that we're working on with contact center, with Customer Journey Platform. And I'm going to go through each of these and some examples of some new capabilities that we're rolling out or have recently rolled out. The first is full stack. So you're going to see this message throughout probably many of the collaboration products, but the idea that using the breadth of the Cisco portfolio to differentiate your proposals, and I'll give you some ideas on that. Our global rollout, so we're with cloud and ingress and also data center access, there's a large capital expense in terms of rolling out availability globally. I'll give you an update on where we are with that. Our cloud migration strategy, so using that installed base as an advantage, and I'm going to give some examples of that. I will talk about our AI strategy, which we call data-driven intelligence, and then close with some open examples around integration of the platform with APIs and new digital channels. Okay, so let's talk about full stack. So there's a concept in call center called first call resolution, or now it's often called first contact resolution. A very, it's a metric which I like to call a win-win metric. So it saves money and it improves customer experience. Basically, it's the measurement of when you call or you reach out for service, can they resolve it on that interaction, or do they have to follow up? And there is a significant percentage of the typical call center, about a third of the typical call center calls aren't resolved on the first time. So if businesses can make an impact to decrease the percentage that aren't resolved, they will, one, save them money because there won't be a future call, and two, they're going to make customers happier. Customers who don't get their call resolved are much more likely to churn or go to a competitor in the time it takes for the business to resolve that issue. So first call resolution is a critical and important and easy win-win metric. One of the ways that you can improve first contact resolution is by connecting contact center resources to people in the back office who could assist. So we have a few solutions for this. So with UC-One, inside of the Customer Journey Platform, you can access an expert in the back office who can resolve an issue. So you've probably experienced this. You've spoken to a call center agent. They aren't sure how to answer your question. They'll need to get back to you, but instead of getting back to you, in this case, they can open up their buddy list. They can contact somebody who can handle that particular type of inquiry through instant messaging or consult with them on the phone and then resolve your issue. We're working on that as well with Jabber and WebEx Teams as those integration systems come together. So basically, we'll be able to reach out in the back office for all contexts. We also, when you do that type of consult, you want to actually give the expert context as well so that they know who the customer is and what that interaction is about. Another thing that we're doing is what we call Expert Virtual Assistant. And what this does, it's based on WebEx Teams, and in this solution, you create a team space. I hope you're familiar with Teams, but you create a space and you put your experts or the people who know that topic in that space. And as customer inquiries come in, you can put them as a request into the space. So these are two non-call center agents, if you will. They all get notified about that customer issue, and one of them can opt to respond to that inquiry, and then they get bridged or they get connected to the customer. So it's a way of allocating work to the back office using spaces in WebEx Teams. Another really interesting solution, which again, I would say falls into the category of getting customers answers quickly. Headsets. So, and I was talking recently to one of our, someone who was recently working at a cloud contact center competitor. And I hadn't really thought about this before, but as a cloud contact center competitor, I don't know, let's say Five9 or InContact or even Genesys Pure Cloud, when you're working with a customer and they say, you know, can you provide, you know, what phones does that work with? Well, you would say, well, it works with any phone. But then if the customer says, can you provide the phones, that conversation is complicated for that vendor at that point because, well, they may not want to suggest Cisco or Avaya, obviously, because we have contact center products. So the conversation starts to get more complicated when the customer wants everything. When you're providing phones, and now when you're providing headsets, as a Cisco reseller, you can offer anything the customer needs. Everything from the devices, the headsets, the network, the unified communications technology, and also the contact center. So part of our strategy is to be able to make it easy for customers to get everything that they need. Same purchasing, buying motions, same support motions, same warranty, those sorts of things are all handled with the full stack, and that includes now the headsets. Another point I'll mention is that headsets are a way to basically double the size of the endpoint sale. I mean, headsets are almost the same price as a phone, so just think about doubling your sale when you're adding in headsets to a contact center sale with phones. Okay, so full stack, again, a way to differentiate and also make things easier for customers. Our global rollout, so I have a picture here, and again, we'll provide you all the content, so I'm not sure you need to try to document all of these pieces here, but needless to say, we're investing in data centers and ingress points for Customer Journey Platform. So there's two parts to our architecture. There's the application software, which runs in a public cloud provider, the Customer Journey Platform application software, and then there's our media processing ingress points. Going forward, our media processing ingress will be in the broad cloud data centers. So as those are rolled out globally, adjacent to the broad cloud instance for unified communication will be the contact center ingress point. So you can sort of look at where we have broad cloud and then look at contact center following, but being in those locations. And then, so that will be our strategy for voice ingress, and we are working aggressively. So there's a capital investment there, as well as just a logistical rollout and operational rollout of all of those locations. We're also, so contact centers have, as I mentioned, a lot of data. They often have sensitive data. You will typically try to prevent them from retaining PII data, like credit card numbers or social security numbers, for example, but they certainly have interesting and I would say sensitive data in them, even if you don't, if you can preclude them from having that type of data. So data sovereignty is particularly important as it relates to contact center, and also it's a fast-moving topic in sort of global politics, if you will. So we have data application residency currently in the United States with dual data centers, but we will be rolling out data centers in Europe, and then in Asia and Canada, and so on. And we have sort of timelines for this that we've or projections for when we're going to be in those locations. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know where this stops. If you follow all of the politics, and we're going to need a different data center in Switzerland to deal with banks, and then another one in Germany, and then another one. So it could go on for a long time, but basically this becomes an inhibitor to certain markets in cloud. it will slow the growth in cloud as the market transitions, but we're well capitalized, and I think Cisco scale will allow us to have a competitive advantage here once we get moving on this process. So it will eventually be a differentiator, I believe, because of our ability to scale and go global. I talked about graceful cloud migration. So one of the things that we're doing is we are making all of our experiences consistent between our premises and our cloud products. So our agent desktop, our reporting, our data repository, and our routing. And what that will allow is for customers to seamlessly move between prem and cloud. We want to make it really easy for those enterprise or express customers to choose Cisco if they want to go cloud. The second part of that is, I'm sure you've heard about this by now, Flex, basically our commercial model that supports that transition. So a combination of technical consistency and also integration so that you can mix and match, and then also a commercial model where you can consume one offer strategy and then allow you to move from prem to cloud. So Flex for UC, we had about a year and a half ago, and then Flex for Contact Center was introduced just this past September, and so it's a part of our transition strategy from prem to cloud. All right, data-driven intelligence. So this is probably, if you think about the contact center space, this is one of the more exciting and most often written about topics in contact center, which is the impact of AI. Our view is that, just some statistics here, interesting, over a third of, or about a third of businesses plan to deploy AI next year, yet less than 3% have it deployed right now. So a huge, at least expectation around deploying AI technology in our base. So expect a lot of activity in this area. Our view is that we're going to implement AI technology in every part of our application stack, every step of the customer journey. So AI technology in self-service, routing, agent assistance, insights or analytics, and then of course also in the network. In the network we have AI technology that does things like threat detection and so forth, and optimizations. So AI technology in every step of the customer journey. So the first thing that we're doing is we're consolidating our data architecture to be prepared and organized in a way to make AI possible. We're building connectors to get more data into our data architecture. We are organizing the data around customer profiles so that you can match data to customers, which is critical. So if we want to predict how to handle a certain customer, we need to know what prior data related to that customer. We are producing, and we have today, a product called Analyzer, which is part of CC-One, and that provides our user experience to show some of the insights from our data. And then we are going to organize and provide APIs that allow the data to be used for taking action. And that sort of goes into the next step, which is how we're going to integrate artificial intelligence to data. This is what we call our Journey Intelligence Hub. Now, Journey Intelligence Hub is our framework to apply data-driven AI technology or intelligence throughout the customer journey. And it's the combination of our data architecture with best-of-breed AI and ML services. So I mentioned a few of them here: Google, Microsoft, IBM, Amazon. These are kind of the core AI engines. They're all, I'm not sure if they're in the room, I feel that they're commodities, frankly. What's interesting about the AI technology is when you map it to data and apply it to something. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take AI technology, match it to our data, and then deliver better insights, better automation, better agent assistant, and better routing. Every part of our platform will be AI-powered by using our data in combination with core AI services. And this is our Journey Intelligence Hub. We actually have, I'm going to jump through this. We have a demonstration down in the Solutions Hub, sorry, the name, where we have an integration with Google. You'll see that. We actually have a session on that as well tomorrow afternoon that shows an AI integration for agent assistance. It listens in on the interactions with customers, and then as the agent is talking to customers, it makes suggestions around the right way to handle that interaction. That's called the Answers feature, and that's kind of a good example of our AI strategy at work. Final point, and I'll take some questions. We are working on, as I talked about, contact centers are always integrated. Here's a picture of some of the, I would call them adjacent applications in our market, whether it be the CRM systems or channels or enterprise communication systems or service platforms. Our goal is to make it really easy to integrate to these things. Some of them will provide out-of-the-box integrations, like, for example, a Salesforce or a Microsoft Dynamics, and others will provide APIs to allow you to integrate to them for your customers. So this is a core part of our product platform, is that we have the services necessary for you. And I showed you some integration channels before. We also want to update you. We recently went live, actually it was a blog today, with Apple Business Chat with one of our customers, 800 Contacts. So they're a contact lens vendor, and they're using App Business Chat. If you don't know what that is, it's really interesting new customer service technology that Apple has built into the iPhone. So customers can use messages to interact with businesses in a secure manner. That's something we started working with Apple about 1.5 years ago on. And then Facebook is also pushing into this area. And then, of course, the home devices are pushing in as well. And all of these things connected are examples of what I spoke to earlier, that channel proliferation, or more channels of customer. And so we're on top of all of these things, and we're offering integrations, APIs, and also out-of-the-box integrations as they become major presence, and so that they can become part of the omni-channel experience of the customer journey platform, as well as our on-premise portfolios. So to close, just some thoughts around why what's in it for you. Contact center is a great revenue opportunity. It's high margin, high revenue business. It's sticky. It can be complex, which can be the downside, but it also is very sticky, and it's an opportunity for you to create value, real business value for your customers. We have, our customers are going to be looking for cloud solutions that are secure end-to-end. They have the whole communications packages, and these are things that you can offer to differentiate versus other cloud contact center vendors in the market, and then use that Cisco IT brand status as well. Looking forward to working with all of you. Cisco is excited about the contact center market, the growth opportunity in that market, how we're going to transition to cloud, how we're going to differentiate our platform, and we know that our partners are key to our success, and they're going to be a key to our cloud transition success as well. So thank you for your time today. I want to take questions. I'm not sure how we're doing. We're doing questions in a rolling mic. We have a few minutes, I think. Let me see. Yes, questions. Yes. Over here. And as I said, we have CJP and also actually Finesse down, one of our Contact Center Express, Finesse down in the demo area as well. Yes?
So I'm going to ask you to think a little bit out of the box. But
Go for it.
if I'm a service provider and I'm trying to sell to the SMB marketplace, right?
Yep.
To very small businesses. But I would like to be able to get them to be able to get some of these advantages, like having an intelligent answer system, even though they're a super small shop and have no time to really do that.
How small is super small?
Well, how small? Well, I'm going to ask you the smaller the better.
So where we would like to target, I'm not sure this is your question, where we would like to target is 20 seats and above. Now, so that's our goal. And again, it's a target. It's not, it's something that we can discuss. When you go under 20 seats, what I've seen in the market is that the vendors that are competing in that area aren't profitable. And I don't want to be in that segment of the market where we're not making money. Now, there are exceptions where there's like large unified communications opportunities with small contact centers in them. So there are exceptions where there might be a play for the very small, but it isn't an area of the market that we believe that we can offer a differentiated value proposition in. So
one follow-up question. I mean, could you do something along the lines of somebody calls in and they get an intelligent agent response? Mm-hmm. That even though it's not getting routed around, it may be pushed to a sales system or a website or quick resolution of a call, something like that?
I would call some of that unified communications. There's things that you can do to route calls, do prompts, do an IVR in front of a hunt group that are sort of not quite call centers, but more than traditional PBX phone systems.
Oh, and I apologize, I meant completely from the cloud too, so nothing on premise.
Yeah, no, but I mean, there's some things that you could do with BroadWorks and BroadCloud around that area. But if you were to talk about the what I would call the contact center platforms, that's where our positioning is, 20 and up. Other questions? Yes, up here in the front.
Thank you. Thank you. I got a couple things I want to ask you about.
Sure.
First off is data storage in Europe. I know that do you have a hard plan for dates for that?
So we're going to do it in 2019. It's kind of, it's not going to be first quarter. It'd be, you know, I think we're looking at like mid-year. I'm not sure what off the top of my head is, but it's absolutely going to happen. What we're doing right now and what's preventing us from doing it this quarter is we're making some, we're consolidating our data architecture, frankly. So we're doing some like change in how our data architecture works. I mean, we're taking this CC-One data architecture and we're converging it with some data services that we had been developing at Cisco for context service and our other call center products. And so we're doing software work right now. Once we have that software work done, then it will be quick for us to roll it out into other geos. We just don't want to do that and then change it later. So that's the impediment isn't actually, you know, expense or logistics. It's more of getting our data architecture straightened out. It'll happen mid next year. I mean,
Okay.
that's what I think.
As one of your big service providers, it'd be the sooner the better.
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
The other
I
question.
think we're going. I think we have it. I think we're going into Germany. I believe. I don't actually know.
We would need the UK.
Yeah.
We'd really need the UK.
So we were long conversation there. I think we're
Yeah.
going to do both, but then one was going to back up the other, and we're actually puzzled as to whether that actually works when Europe, when the UK is
may
no
or may
longer
not,
part of
yeah.
Europe,
Yeah.
and whether that actually addresses or doesn't address the needs of the market by having one in the UK and one in
Right.
in Europe.
And then one other question on that is security is, are you guys HIPAA, PCI compliant when you're
Yes,
when
yes.
you're storing data? Yes and yes.
We offer HIPAA, and we are PCI certified with the current version of our cloud platform.
Okay, and then last thing is more of a product question is, I don't see anything here that includes IVR capability.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a plan to add an IVR, to this, or do we have to have an IVR of our an alternative IVR to front end that CJP context?
We have a relationship with Inference. Sure, are you aware of that? Okay, so we have a relationship with Inference. We resell Inference as an IVR option on top of Customer Journey Platform. So for customers that are doing sort of basic prompting and navigating to queues, we can offer that in the base CJP platform. And if you're going to do a self-service IVR, then we offer Inference as a sale. As a resale.
Are you going to be developing one that sits with CJP, or is it more to the third party, longer term?
Well, that is kind of a bigger conversation, and there's also, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about this in the Google session. The IVR market is going through a transition from and this is happening to our whole portfolio, from VXML-based, drag and drop, flow-based voice rules to what I would call intent-based natural language dialogue engines, which have a completely different programming paradigm than a flow-based VXML traditional IVR. So it's a really interesting, what's going to happen over the next few years, we have our own thoughts on this, but basically I think the IVR market is in the process of being disrupted as we speak, and the dialogue, I'm now giving an opinion, the dialogue providers like Google and Lex from Amazon and Microsoft and Watson to some extent are potentially coming into the IVR market kind of from the side, from the chatbot space in, and the programming environment for the next generation IVR probably will not look much like a current IVR. Now, how quickly that transition happens, I guess, is a bit of is not something I'm 100% certain on, but we're going to embrace it. Let me put it that way. We're going to embrace that transition as it comes and offer with CJP options to connect it to these other dialogue engines as let's call it an alternative to IVR. anyway, that's maybe a little deeper than I want to get to here, but if we want to talk more about it offline, I have opinion on this, and we have, what I think we're going to do is see a transition into a reconstruction of the way IVR is done over the next few years. Other questions? How are you doing? Good. Anything else? Okay, well, good. Appreciate your time. We have, as I said, Down the World Solutions. Go down and see Customer Journey Platform. My contact information, it's very easy. It's famous. You can find me on Teams. It's famous@cisco.com, just like my last name. Very easy. Reach out to me, and some of my team is here, and I look forward to having this conversation going forward. Okay, thank you.